activities in the Nigerian political space, views of political actors from various political parties on political process, views of labor leaders, and most importantly, your views. Views of the common Nigerian. Tune in to Ebonade 103.5 FM or you join online via mixlr.com/gistfm every Monday and Saturday. What are your political views? Keep a date.
Okay, guys. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Please like, subscribe, and share. Right, hit the subscribe button right here. Remember to check out this book, Hip Hop and Igbo Culture by yours faithfully, Martin Ifanchukwu on Amazon.com. Check it out, alright? Impeached Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, condemned in the strongest term what he described as illegal impeachment with trumped-up charges, and he promised to fight this with the last drop of his blood. Good afternoon and welcome to Political Views on Ebonade 103.5 FM. I am Martin Ifanchukwu Ekezie. However, the governor of Rivers State, Simi Bara, continued to tell opposition not to take this part as weakness. But the Edo people do not see any need for the impeachment of the deputy governor, Chaibu Philip, as most will say that it benefits them nothing. A lot of people are looking at the Edo State House of Assembly being used to settle personal political scores by the governor of Baseki. The Emefiele, the former governor of CBN, pleads not guilty to $4.5 billion, $2.8 billion. A lot is happening. So let me bring you up to speed on the happenings on our political space this afternoon. The headlines. On our headlines this afternoon, court remands Emefiele in EFCC custody as trial begins April 11th. Edo Assembly impeaches Deputy Governor Chaibu. Obaseki picks Omobayo as Edo Deputy Governor. Peter Obi backs Tinubu government on electricity tariff hike. Yusuf pledges Kanu transformation, urges release of Ganduje probe report. Federal government done with PPI Ganduje probe report. Federal government done with Rufai. 2027 crisis brews in PDP as Atiku, weakest loyalist, battle for supremacy. State police inimical to Nigeria's democracy. Okechukwu ex BONDG. Now, details. Before we go into the details, it is political views on Ebona at the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080 You can as well join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona at the 103.5 FM. Drop your comments on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via r.com/gistfm. Now, the details itself. Court remands Emefiele in EFCC custody as a trial begins April 11th. An Ikeja Special Offences Court on Monday remanded the embattled former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele for alleged abuse of office and fraud to the tune of $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira. The newsmen report that Justice Raman Oshodi remanded Emefiele in the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission custody while his co-defendant Henry Isioma Omoile was remanded in the Ikoyi Custodial Center. Oshodi remanded the defendants pending the determination of their bail applications on April 11th. The judge adjourned the case until April 11th for determination of bail application and commencement of trial. Earlier, EFCC arraigned Emefiele on a 23-count charge bordering on abuse of office, accepting gratifications, corrupt demand, receiving property fraudulently obtained, and conferring corrupt advantage, while his co-defendant was arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on acceptance of gift by agents. The defendants, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. EFCC counsel, Mr. Rotimi Oyedepo San, had asked the court for a trial date following the defendant's not guilty pleas. Oyedepo also informed the court that the prosecution would be asking for closed section for some of its witnesses who were willing to testify but scared for their lives. Counsel to the two defendants, Mr. Aburakim Labi Lawal, in their bail applications urged the court to grant them bail on self-recognizance and liberal terms pending the determination of the case. Labi Lawal, in a 35-paragraph affidavit, said that the first defendant, Emefiele, complied with the bail application which was given to him by Justice Hamas Muazu in his ongoing fraud trial in Abuja. And the next story we have for you this afternoon is Edo Assembly impeaches Deputy Governor Chaibu. The Edo State House of Assembly has impeached the Deputy Governor, Philip Chaibu. The impeachment followed the adoption of the report of 7-man investigative panel set up by the Assembly to probe allegations of misconduct against Chaibu. The panel was set up by Daniel Okumboa, Chief Judge of Edo. It is headed by S.A. Omonua, a retired justice. The commencement of the panel sitting follows the resolution by Edo State House of Assembly to initiate impeachment processes against Chaibu. During its plenary last Tuesday, the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Blessing Abuebaku, told lawmakers that the 7-day ultimatum granted Chaibu to respond to the impeachment notice served on him had expired last month on March 16, 2024. Last month, on March 6, 2024, the lawmakers served Chaibu with an impeachment notice. However, the Edo State House of Assembly ordered a substitute service in response to what Agbebaku claimed was the deputy governor's purported evasion of service. The substituted service was published in a Nigerian Observer and Vanguard newspaper on March 12 to 2024. The motion to order Justice Okuboa to form a committee to look into the petition against Saibu was then made by Charity, the majority leader of the Edo House of Assembly. The political conflict between the deputy governor and his principal, Godwin Obaseki, led to Chaibu's impeachment. The feud between Obaseki and Chaibu became obvious after the deputy governor asked the court to stop an alleged plot by the governor to remove him from office. Obaseki refuted the accusation and then charged that Chaibu had rigged the Edo State Youth Council election to advance his candidature for the state's governorship in 2024. Still on the historical space this afternoon, Obaseki picks Omobayo as Edo Deputy Governor. Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State has appointed Omobayo Marvelous Godwins as his deputy. The appointment comes after the Edo State House of Assembly impeached the former deputy governor, Philip Chaibu. Omobayo Marvelous Godwins is from Akoko-Edo in the Edo North Senatorial District of the state. The governor will swear in Mr. Omobayo at the Dennis Osadebe Government House later in the day. Chaibu was impeached by the State Assembly after they adopted the report of a seven-man panel that investigated allegations of misconduct against him. The Justice S.A. Omonua led panel had its inaugural sitting last Wednesday in Benin, the state capital. The panel ended its sitting on Friday with Chaibu or his counsel failing to show up to defend the allegations leveled against him. The panel had adjourned till Thursday for Chaibu to open his defense, and when he didn't show up and he was given till Friday to come and defend the allegations against him, which he failed to do, the Edo State House of Assembly, which is the petitioner in the case, had on Wednesday opened and closed its case, paving the way for Chaibu to defend the allegations leveled against him. Chaibu's counsel, Oladoyin Awale, attended the inaugural sitting but excused himself in the middle of the hearing after the panel refused his prayer to suspend the proceedings pending the outcome of a suit filed in Abuja by Chaibu challenging the impeachment move against him. Omobayo is expected to be screened by the Edo State House of Assembly. Still on the stories making rounds at political space this afternoon, Peter Obi backs Tinubu government on electricity tariff hike. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has told the part of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government on a new electricity tariff hike. Obi on Sunday said increasing electricity tariff for the rich is best. Recall that the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission approved a tariff increase on Tuesday last week for Band A customers. Reacting to the development, Obi said that was the solution to Nigeria's electricity challenges. He stressed that a tariff increase for urban areas that can afford it is understandable. The solution is very simple. Referring to electricity tariff hike, you can increase the tariff for those in areas where they can afford it. We must do a lot in power generation because it has taken so long, but we have to take into consideration the majority of Nigerians are suffering. So we need to support people in those areas to be able to live and be able to produce something. When they start to produce something, we are pushing them out of poverty. And that's where my theory of moving from consumption to production comes in, he said. The next story we have for you this afternoon: Yusuf pledges Kanu transformation, urges a release of Ganduje probe report. Governor Abba Kabi Yusuf of Kanu State says he is focused on taking the state to greater heights than be engaged former governor of the state, Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, in a war of attrition. Yusuf, through his Director General, Media and Publicity, Malam Sanusi Bature, told newsmen in Kanu on Monday that he is not bothered by criticisms by Ganduje. Yusuf was reacting to allegations by Ganduje, now national chairman of All Progressive Congress, of using diversionary tactics to cover up his failure to deliver dividends of democracy in the state. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Mr. Edwin Olofu, Ganduje alleged that it was unfortunate that Yusuf failed to meet public expectations in spite of increase in physical allocations to the state. 8 months in office has remarkably outweighed Ganduje's 8 years, 8 wasted years of political caricature and maladministration by all standards, Yusuf said. Yusuf said his administration was inclined to prioritizing attention to socio-economic and physical infrastructure developments for the overall well-being of the people of the state. He urged the appropriate authorities, such as Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), to ensure that those who embezzle the state's money, including Ganduje, were brought to book through legal means. Yusuf said it was unfortunate that Ganduje would accuse him of delivering funds meant for the state when he was still under investigation by EFCC for looting public funds. He told newsmen that his government will continue to probe Ganduje's 8-year tenure until he was satisfied that his hands were clean, or he would use. Afternoon, we have this one. It says federal government done with a PI pilot phase to improve electricity. Minister of Power. Federal government done with PPI pilot phase to improve electricity. Minister of Power. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, said the government has completed the pilot phase of the Presidential Power Initiative, also known as the Siemens contracts to improve electricity in Nigeria. Adelabu made this disclosure on Friday while responding to journalists during a question and answer session at a ministerial press briefing organized by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris. The minister explained that in 2018, the Nigerian government signed a memorandum of understanding with the German government for the Siemens contracts. He explained that the German government agreed to lend Nigeria $2.3 billion and employ Siemens to transform the country's transmission and distribution sector. The Minister of Power said due to COVID-19, significant progress is yet to be made in implementing the projects. According to him, the project was supposed to proceed in 2 phases, but the pilot phase only progressed significantly once a new government emerged. The power minister disclosed that in November 2023, during the visit of the German Chancellor to Nigeria, one of the issues they discussed was the need to continue with the project. He disclosed that the federal government has also installed 3 out of 10 mobile substations, with 7 more to be done. So we are fully convinced that with the success recorded as the pilot phase of this project, we are moving forward unperturbed on the remaining phases of these projects, he added. The phases include transforming Nigeria's transmission segment or network by expanding the transmission capacity and strengthening the transmission to avoid the current fragility that leads to persistent grid collapse. It is also going to involve the installation of new transmission power lines, the reconducting of some lines, and the conduct of some existing power lines, totaling almost 14,000 kilometers as the transmission segments, Adelabu said. Adelabu said that the same thing applies to the distribution segment, whereby the country's existing injection substations will be enhanced in the distribution companies, DISCOs. The next story we have for you on this particular edition of Political Views on Ebon at the 103.5 FM is Labour Party kicks as NLC meets on Abure's fate today. Stakeholders of the Nigerian Labour Congress will today meet to take a decision on the leadership crisis rocking the Labour Party and the return of Julius Abure as the party's national chairman. Among other things, newsmen gathered that a caretaker committee is being proposed by the unionists to take over the control of the opposition party. Invitations have been sent out to all relevant stakeholders and members of NLC Political Commission. The meeting will take place today, Monday, in Abuja. That meeting may seal the fate of Abure as arrangements have been concluded to set up a caretaker committee to take over the leadership of the party, a source told newsmen. The development comes in the wake of a failed attempt by the party's board of trustees to wrestle power from Abure and take over Labour Party leadership. A few days ago, a group of retired workers under the aegis of the Lagos Assembly of Labour Veterans and Trade Unionists protested and demanded an immediate resignation of the party chairman. Similarly, the retirees called on the NLC president Joe Ajero to bow out of office for failing to protect their interests and the manner he went about the leadership struggle of the party. Efforts to get a reaction from the NLC spokesperson Benson Opa were unsuccessful. As of the time of filing the story, Opa neither picked up calls nor replied both the SMS and WhatsApp messages sent for clarification. A few hours after the NLC invitation went viral, the leadership of the Labour Party kicked against the planned meeting, which it described as illegal jamboree of some drama boys. The opposition party frowned on the proposed gathering, as stated in a statement by the National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo, titled "A Proposed NLC Stakeholders Meeting, a Jamboree by Drama Boys, Illegal and Outcome in Nullity." Ifo also called on law enforcement agencies to abort the gathering and go after the unionists before their planned action degenerates into a public nuisance. And the next story is Road to 500 billion naira recapitalization. Bank owners lobby seek adjustment in share capital composition. Less than a week into the effective date of the exercise, the recapitalization program of banks may face its first acid test in the coming days as influential bank owners and top bankers have started throwing spanners into the implementation. Newsmen was informed at the weekend, but the Central Bank of Nigeria, which sources said had secured the full support of the President Bola Tinubu to go on with the exercise, is resolute in prosecuting the program as contained in the blueprint. Still, there are indications that the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso could be summoned at some point to provide more explanation on the cost and benefits of the exercise. Already, some lawmakers are seeking support for a possible invitation for a proper interrogation on the issue, it was learned. Whereas there is a consensus that the banking sector needs a recapitalization. Some owners of the banks who are wary of losing control of the institutions are said to have called for relaxation and reconsideration of the new share capital or include the consideration of shareholders' fund, including retained earnings, as in the case of the 2005 recapitalization. Until last month, when the new regulatory capital was announced, Tier 1 banks were essentially considered adequate capitalization. But to the chagrin of the banking community, the Apex Bank disqualified retained earnings, which is about 60% of the total equity of some of the banks. Hence, the banks are currently battling to bridge shortfalls, which S&P Global Ratings pegs at 2.5 trillion naira. Ironically, the industry sits on 3.85 trillion naira in retained earnings, a buffer that could sufficiently bridge the capital adequacy gap. The five systematically important banks alone, Access Bank, First Bank, GTB Bank, GT Bank, United Bank for Africa, and Zenith Bank, according to the Research Institute, will now have to source for 1.5 trillion naira to bridge the capital shortfall. The amount is dwarfed by the retained earnings provisions. Cardoso faces the pressure of admitting the huge components of shareholders' fund as part of the total regulatory capital of banks, but reliable sources said the governor would not bow to pressure. Cardoso faces the pressure of admitting the huge components of shareholders' fund as part of the total regulatory capital of banks, but reliable sources said the governor would not bow to pressure. And the next story is I'm interested in better Nigeria. P2B clears air on running with El Rufai. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, P2B, has said he is more interested in Nigeria's success today than in the future. This follows speculations on social media that he was looking to make former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai his running mate in the 2027 polls, but Obi, while speaking with journalists in Gombe State shortly after donating a borehole to the ram market in the TK, well, I'm more interested now in Nigeria's success today than tomorrow. We are always concentrating on the election rather than what Nigerians are going through. My commitment is about Nigerians living a better society, giving a better life, and that's my concern, he stated. And the next story, 2027 crisis brews in PDP as Atiku, Wike's loyalists battle for supremacy. Fresh crisis is brewing in the People's Democratic Party as loyalists of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Yeson Wike, return to their trenches. The bone of contention, newsmen gathered, is the control of the leadership of the opposition party ahead of the 2027 general elections. Inside sources revealed that the Atiku and Wike's camps are already mobilizing ahead of the April 18th National Executive Committee meeting, where major decisions regarding the appointment of a substantive national chairman and other critical issues will be taken. It will be the first time the NEC, second highest organ of the party, will be meeting in the last 18 months. Newsmen gathered that, barring any last minute change, the major issues to be discussed include the appointment of a replacement for Iyorchia Ayu. He lost his seat shortly after the 2023 general elections, following his sack as a member of the party by his ward in Benue State. However, he is currently challenging his ouster at the Court of Appeal. Prior to the 2023 general elections, a group of 5 governors led by Wike, former governor of Rivers State, had fallen out with Atiku and the PDP leadership in the aftermath of the nomination of former Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as a PDP vice presidential candidate. Thus, the PDP went to the poll with a divided house. The party has been polarized, with Atiku's loyalists calling for sanction against the former Rivers governor for alleged anti-party activities. However, multiple sources told newsmen that while the Atiku camp is pushing for the replacement of Damagum, who has been acting as national chairman since Ayu's ouster, Wike's loyalists are canvassing for the acting chairman to remain in office until the next convention in December 2025. According to one of the sources, Atiku's people who are pushing for the next so as to replace Damagon, they want a non-Wike person from the North Central to take over. And lastly, before you can call in and tell us what you think of all of this, state police inimical to Nigeria's democracy, Okechukwu, SVONDG. The former Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu, says state police will hurt the nation's nascent democracy. Okechukwu, a founding member of the ruling All Progressive Congress, spoke on Saturday in Eke shortly after the burial of late Chief Bona Ude, SY chairman of Udi local government area in Enugu State. The APC chieftain said that his lack of support for the establishment of state police was due to his elementary study of the antics of dictatorship. He stated that the study made him shiver each time he thought of what would happen to democracy if governors who had since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1999 acted like emperors who are constantly in the breach of fine democratic tenets and civil liberties. My dear countrymen, do we, in all intents and purposes, make austerity sense to further empower emperors? Emperors hated alternative views, abhor popular participation and rule of law throughout the history of man. Their governors, in similar manner, abhor the rule of law and popular participation. This is why they had, in the same bipartisan manner, opposed local government autonomy, independence of state judiciary, and state legislature, he said. Providing solutions to the high level of insecurity in the country, Okechukwu said, as a matter of urgent national importance, Nigeria needs a well-trained and well-equipped special constabulary police in line with the Nigerian Police Act 2020. There you have it. A lot of people in Edo State and beyond believes that the impeachment of Philip Shaibu as the deputy governor is a proof of a rubber stamp House of Assembly. What is your take on all of this? And you'll remember that the governor of CBN, Emefiele, pleads not guilty to $4.5 billion, 2.8 billion naira. What is your take on all of this? The numbers you call and then remains 070-3445-9334 or 070-4559-2210. Let's hear from you right about now. Hello.
Hello, Martin.
Yes, good afternoon, my sister.
Oh, my dear.
Okay, no. At the moment.
Oh, I'm going to Madam Mukeza and I can be my Sabah.
Gabaniru, oh.
Now, what am I going to be an aeroplane?
Okay.
Aeroplane, what are you against the president in the Senate? Oh, man, one day again. 1 month, we do 1 million much. The better. Oh, what I say, we will go to Naya Hattie. I had another one because the Gilligan. For the president, the one you. Mano Toddy. I'm not to be more actors. Now, I can't allow a deal at Cokenaka.
Okay.
I was another DPO on I will know you, Mr. President. Well, yeah, not Punja, like that. I want to now on up to one eye, and I know Blue Mom. I am not saying La Homacanam. Standing a medical policeman. Yeah, that's why the only one that can take all. That's one of the times, Condell Gibuna Boronu, but for the land and then go. Legends, the money and the better woman and a mere back will be a plan and let it go. The second mom of this talk had a Puniano was the journalist. I will pick up and they guide the Pulapa. Can't be going out and turning down my back, they'll be stopped, but I'm all the catcher. I don't understand how to come out to be a corner in Indiana. Or to the ACC. I am a man on that, and I put the damn wow, ever done a practice. The military guy, and
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Let's hear from you right about now. What do you have to say about all of this? Hello. Yes, good afternoon, my brother. No. Gabani Rusa, oh? Mm. Kedu ife ọ bekasị mgbe ọ chịrị Anambra na-ewute gị na-arọ gị mmadụ?
I know how he works. What will be by the Anambra?
O dị na nke El-Rufai. Ọ sị na ya na-eche maka Naijiria ịdị mma taa na ya dị ekwu okwu future now. Ọ dị okwu.
Ya ka m na-agba gị ha bụ onye ahụ. Nke o mere eme, a sị n'ọnya bịa onwe ya si n'ọnya nwunye. Kedu ebe o jidebere maka ya? Ọ na-ekwu nke ọzọ ọ ga-eje. Onye a ga-ezuo ike ka ndị mmadụ mara ebe a na-eje. N'obodo a na-eje anaghị
isukwu ya n'ọjọọ sị ebe ị gbadobere aka bụ ife a na-ebu na like Okay, daalụ my brother, ka anyị nabatakwa ndị ọzọ o maka time. Ngwa ndaalụ. Thank you so much. Anerusa.
Biko nke mbụ bụ na nwere nchọ ịjụ iwe adịgbana ọkụ adịgoghị ya. Ndị INEC ọgwụ eji eme elekshọn ha ji agba votas kaadị. Ka gwa mbọ rụọ ọnụ na nke a onye votas kaadị ya kwu ya ha mee ya ofu ofu nweta ya gbata ripọt ese nke a bụ ọtụrụ mgbe ọ bụla achọ igbe vootu eje kwụrụ na laịn. Nkịta enweta free time ọsịpụ onye votas kaadị ya fụ mebie ha na-eso iwepụ dispensị and ha chọrọ iti onye obere ihe kọt according to them. Kọt ekwu na anaghị emebi mana